Welcome, everybody.
Blog
Breath of Sarah
Talk
is
Radio.
back on the radio. I'm so glad that you are all here tonight. I have a very special guest, Dr. Stephanie Reid. Today is 10/20/2016. Boy, that's a lot of zeros. And we're back on the air. I want to thank everybody for the kind letters and emails and gifts in the mail and cards in the mail while I was away for a year on a break. Just put it that way, a growing transition. I met Dr. Reid in Utah in September of this year, and we just kind of clicked. We clicked. We have a little bit in common, and I'm just going to introduce her. The call-in number, first and foremost, the call-in number is 646-787-8276. For those of you who would like to call in, I am not having a chat tonight. So I would like to introduce to you Dr. Stephanie Reid. Dr. Reid,
Hello.
Thank you for coming on the show tonight and giving us your time. I know time is important. I know we have a lot of ground to cover and probably be doing a couple of shows, but I got a couple of email questions, and the first two simple questions I got was, what prompted you to become a doctor of naturopathy versus a regular MD?
Well, that is a really fascinating story, but the long and short of it is I was blessed to be able to give birth in the United States back in 1988. 18 months later, I gave birth again to another son in a German hospital, and the two experiences changed my life. It was a paradigm shift in the possibilities of what medicine could be and the healing potential when you treated the body with reverence. And that kind of changed my life because I wanted to be a pediatrician.
So the second question is, we'll save the second question for later. It's a little early for that, I think. Let's see.
Okay.
I personally want to talk to you about your book. You're an author also. I want to talk about your book, and that book is titled From Panic to Empowerment, and I love that title.
Well, you know, it's interesting. When we are healers, we get our inspiration from a lot of different things, and most of it is not about what we think. It's mostly about what we feel. And From Panic to Empowerment came about because I'm really very passionate about helping the people that come see me see their healing potential for what it is. So when you understand what a naturopath does or natural health coach, you understand that they're very compassionate people, and we do care about the health of the people that come to see us. They're looking for a breakthrough. They're looking for relief. They're looking for a whole bunch of stuff that they're not getting in an allopathic setting. One of the things that really sort of got under my skin was the fact that when a person came to see me, they were still in the mindset of looking for something to quell a symptom, and they really weren't still considering their healing potential. They still had the mindset of being treated. And so they would ask me, what can I take for this? Or what can I take to make my hair grow? Or and it got kind of overwhelming because we could impact those things very easily with trace minerals and homeopathics and botanicals and clinical nutrition. But at the end of the day, you are a spirit, a mind, and a body. And when you don't connect all of who you are and you're only concentrating on one aspect of who you are, you're not going to get the relief that you need. And so my people were always coming to me in a state of panic, and I realized I had to give them a tool to teach them to move from panic into the empowerment zone, and I taught them a technique called the 3 R's approach to healing. Telling it to them during the sessions when they came to visit was one thing, but I really needed to make sure that they understood how to make it applicable to their lives, and so thus I had to write the book.
Excellent. Yeah, that quelling symptoms thing. I have a Facebook friend, and she, for about a year now, almost every post she puts up is about she doesn't feel good, she can't get the weight under control, she can't get the blood sugar under control. So I sent her a link to the Sweeties and our blood sugar pack, and she's like, I pour my heart out, and all you want to do, she goes, I don't need that. I just need better medicine. And I thought, oh, wow. Oh, sorry. Sorry you feel that way. Yeah. It just kind of broke my heart, though, because like you said, healers of any type, they care. They care about their people. And you know, I care about the people that I help, that I counsel, that I coach, and that I talk to every day, or people who I know they're seeing what I'm posting, what I'm sharing with the rest of the world. And it's like, you know, I'm at a loss for words of what to say to her, but I know there's a lesson in it. You know what I mean? I'll figure it out.
There's a lesson.
And what? That book. Where can people get your book, From Panic to Empowerment?
They can actually get my book on Amazon. It is in the paperback form. It's about 200 pages, a little less. And they can also get it in a Kindle format. But if they go to my website, FromPanicToEmpowerment.com, they can also get an audio version of it. And you get to hear me narrate in my excited intonation, passionate way of narrating my own work. Because when you read it, you're going to hear my voice. And so I figured a lot of people were saying, well, you have an audio book? And I'm like, no. So I had all these people audition to read this book, and none of the auditions came close to the energy and the authenticity needed to impart this information. And so I narrated the book myself, and there is an audio form if you go to FromPanicToEmpowerment.com and click on our shop tab.
Excellent. Yes, I love the packaging and whatnot that you did on there also.
Can you repeat that question?
What's that?
I didn't hear you. There was a delay in this. So can you repeat that question or that statement?
Oh, I was going to say, how long did it, how do you see yourself in your book? What did you learn from bringing that information forward that helped you in your life personally?
Well, the story is weaved with, it's a story within a story that's telling and teaching concepts. And the concept is you have emotions that are trapped, and those trapped emotions are based on a belief system of experience that you had, and changing the perspective of it or not is what creates dis-ease or healing in the body. And I weaved in the story of me giving birth to a beautiful baby girl on August the 12th, 2014. Melody was born at 4:10 a.m., and she actually died at 1:20 in the afternoon. Being a professional, being a pastor's wife, being someone that everybody looks up to, it made it very difficult for me to grieve. And the day that I really did grieve, it manifested in something wonderful. And within the book, you'll read that I'm at the park, and I want to go walk to get off this extra baby weight that I had to give me some relief of even reminding myself that there was another life inside me, and I just really wanted to get rid of it. So I'm walking in the lake, and it's raining, and I get in my car, and oh my goodness, it seems like there's buckets and buckets of water on my windshield, and I feel like I'm in some sort of cocoon. And all of a sudden I hear screams. I heard it once, I heard it twice, and then I realized it was my screams. And those screams were of rage and sadness, and I screamed out to God, and I said, God, why did you do that? Why did you give me this child and take her away? And then I said, and I didn't realize I had said it, and why did you allow all those other bad things happen to me when I was a child or throughout my life? And throughout my life, I've suffered with lupus and prolapse mitral valve, eczema. I had my appendix removed. I was a very sickly person. But I could also remember that my biggest physical challenges were also in the time of my life when I was having the most emotional and mental turmoil. And so when I had that revelation, I was like, wow. Just by screaming out at God and asking that question, I realized that it was my own trapped emotions and my own belief systems that were so deeply suppressed that my body was acting out. And now to reframe the story, I see my daughter's birth and death story as something very beautiful. I used to feel it as being a traumatic experience. And so that lesson of moving from panic to empowerment was all about a profound experience that I experienced. And I weave in other stories to prove points and other case studies of clients that I've worked with. The book will make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It'll make you go, uh-huh, with indignation. And so that's where it came from. I actually lived this. And how to the best give someone a nugget of truth is if you have to walk that mile for them and then show them how to get there.
Right. That's so well said. And that's a very expansive statement. You like, I can't give somebody $100 if I don't have it.
Right.
We cannot give what we do not have, and it's not just tangible things or monetary things. It's those silent things. It's that love. It's the unconditional love of God. It's the unconditional love and happiness, joy, peace, all of that comes from heart to heart, soul to soul. And and you cannot fake that. You own. I can tell you own what you are, who you say you are, and you do what you do. So
I do. I do it from a loving place.
Yes, you do. You really struck me that way when I met you, and I almost cried when you told me the story about your daughter, because I've been through that, and I worked through mine in a different way. And I worked through it for a little while, all the ways you should not, work it through. So to hear your story, and after meeting you in live and in person at the convention in Utah, I would never guess that you were ever overweight, that you were unhealthy, that you had skin problems ever. I never would have guessed that.
Yes, I had lupus. I had adult acne. I had my appendix taken out. I was severely gluten intolerant and didn't even know. I had asthma. What else? Prolapsed mitral valve. I mean, I had it all. But I also had a lot of trauma throughout my life, and not being able to express it because of belief systems. We're taught you can think it, but you better not say it. Keep things quiet, whatever goes on in your house, you can't talk about it. And so you learn how to quell these emotions. And then when you do say something about how you feel, then you're met with, oh, it's not that serious, you're overreacting. And so you learn not to trust yourself. But an interesting dynamic about your emotions is the language of your spirit. When we're happy, we associate it with being light-spirited, and we have a happy spirit. But when we're hurt or frustrated or rejected, we do not connect that spiritually. We only connect the good stuff.
Right.
But your spirit's emotions is guiding you toward your bliss or away from danger. And so you have to learn how to trust them. And that's what the moving from panic to empowerment is about. I give you systematic steps and tools and exercises and anecdotal stories for you to see the stories and be able to apply them in your own life so you can have your own breakthroughs. Because without that component, your diabetes will still be there. It might get better, but it'll be there. And even if it did get better, that emotions will manifest in another way.
Right, exactly. Yes. Let's talk a little bit about your 7-week course, your 7-week online course, for those of you who are not in the Baltimore area, that helps people discover and use their untapped healing potential. Let's talk about that. What is the name of that course?
That course is also From Panic to Empowerment, How to Stop Pain and Disease from Taking Over Your Life by Connecting Spirit, Mind, and Body. Now, everybody knows that any natural endeavor is about mind, body, spirit. We hear that. It's kind of a cliche. The reality is people don't realize that they're actually saying it in the wrong order, and what they talk about first is what they're emphasizing. You're putting the wrong emphasis on your mind, and that's why your body is still haywire. So the course was actually written first because my clients are always on their computers, they're always doing something, and I needed to have something tangible and familiar to them. And so this is an online 7-week course, and it has modules as if you're taking an online college degree. So there's modules and quick links and downloads and videos and exercises, and you even have interaction with other students within the link. Depending on the level of course that you want to take, will also include an online workbook. You'll also have one-on-one sessions with me. It'll include webinars and even live events. So the course can be as simple as you want it to be or as expansive as you need it to be in order for you to truly harness the idea that you are a spirit, a mind, and then your body responds to those things. And so the course hidden spaces of you that you didn't realize was causing a problem in your life. So we deal with the subconscious and the superconscious. We deal with belief systems for birth to 7. You know, we kind of really look at this, and in order for you to really harness it and learn it, there's exercises and there's activities, and at the end you get a certificate.
Awesome. What role do minerals play? And where I'm going with this is we have the minerals, the amino acids, the vitamins. We have botanicals and homeopathic type things in a product line you and I have in common. And in regards to quelling, how can a person deal, like my situation I was saying about my Facebook friend, you know, just broke my heart that she responded that way, and I'm like, wow. Did I not express this correctly or something? You know, I always go, I always pick on myself. Nobody picks on me. I pick on myself.
Yes.
So it's like, and I noticed that was my cycle, and I stopped it, and I focused on something a little more light than that, and so how do you get a person from desperation and sickness to at least feeling better, and what role do minerals play in that?
Well, when a person comes to see me, their initial consult is a 2.5-hour visit. The schedule says 2 hours, but it's usually 2.5 hours, sometimes longer. And what I'm able to glean from that experience is the more you let a person talk and ask qualifying questions to get them to see their life as it is and not what they pretend that it is, you can open up a dialogue that teaches them new things because now they've been kind of disarmed. When you disarm a person from their beliefs because you've allowed him to do something that most people don't do, you've allowed them to speak and you gave the honor of listening, then they're open to you. And when they're open, you can now say, I use analogies a lot. And one analogy that I always use to substantiate the need for 90 essential nutrients, which includes 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 2 essential fatty acids. We need that every day. How I substantiate that for someone who's never heard that information before, I ask them, I say, have you ever read a food label? And they go, yeah, okay, I read a food label. I said, well, foods must have a food label because food is supposed to nourish us for survival. When a food nourishes us for survival, we're getting everything we need and the body works optimally. But if you look on the back of the food label, it will give you calories, serving size, amount of carbohydrates, amount of sodium, and then at the very bottom in very tiny letters it will say, this food is not an adequate source of nutrition for a 2,000-calorie diet. And they list a few minerals that are there, and then in those 90s, they're missing like 85 nutrients. Most people don't know that is the reason for the label. So when I bring that to their attention and say, well, if you know now that you need 90, the proof in the pudding is the fact that everybody else knows you need it too, and that's why they're giving you something to count. But you're not really taught that to a way where you can use it effectively. And so now I just taught them new information, and they're like, wow, okay.
Right.
All right.
Can you explain how the FDA chart and the ORX chart work?
I don't know it in the terms of me being a expert in it, but the FDA has a recommended daily allowance based on research that changes. I'm not even sure what the research is on, because you and I know, and everybody who is under the sound of my voice has had the standard American diet forever, and the standard American diet says you need carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Well, you know what? It doesn't even tell you need fats. In the circle, the really tiny circle of the plate, it'll give you a dollop of what oil you should have. You need carbohydrates, proteins, and vegetables. And when I mean carbohydrates, I mean grains. And so that is the standard American diet. In terms of what we really need, that doesn't even pan out, because there's really no nutrition in those items, because there's no nutrition in the food, because of the soil is depleted of the, it's just kind of crazy. And so we have also genetically modified foods or hybrid grains, which creates hybrid foods. There's a lot of different variables. And so the FDA keeps changing. When we talk about ORAC points, we're talking about antioxidants. We are bombarded by oxidative damage or oxidative stress. So every time you breathe in, there's oxidative damage. If you're not quite sure what that means, cut an apple, sit on your counter for about 5 minutes or less, and it'll turn brown. That brown part of the apple is oxidative damage, and that's exactly what happens to our bodies. So we're constantly putting in oxidative damaging items, and if you consider that our standard American diet sort of creates that problem, then they really don't go hand in hand. The ORAC point is something that's something that you and I know. Most people know it from the perspective of, I drink green tea because of antioxidant. It's an antioxidant. Or I eat vitamin E because they think it's an antioxidant. But they have no idea about the whole concept of oxidative damage and how damaging it is to the overall health, in addition to eating quality food that's not quality and it doesn't have any nutrition in it.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I when I was introduced to longevity, the gentleman that was with me that introduced me to it, he gave me a copy of God Bless America and Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and I found my entire medical history in those two books. I found my diet in there. And I was pretty conscientious. I was, I'm not a vegetarian or anything. I like steak, But I was like, and then when Fukushima happened and all the radiation spilled out into the Pacific, it was like, okay, well, then it didn't take very long till the stores here in my little beautiful town I live in, they started saying we're not going to carry any more Pacific fish and the price is going to go up because we have to import it from over here and da-da-da-da-da. And so, I haven't had any good fish for a couple of years now, and it's like, what can I eat? How can I get the nutrition that I need in my body? And I found every single answer, and I was able, working with my MD, because she's very open-minded, I was able to get from 239 pounds down to 160 pounds since May. I was still 180 when I was at the convention. I went down to 160 when I got home, and then I gained 9 pounds back because I was out of product for 20 days. And, I was over at somebody's house, and there was brownies, and I'm like, oh, sure, well, one won't hurt me. But it did. And I took like 2 bites, and it was almost like, and it wasn't because it was a brownie. It's because there was no nutrition in it, because there are really healthy brownies out there. And I know our company has excellent chocolate. I've heard a lot of testimonies about the chocolate. But I was able to get down to the bottom of things, and I talked with for about 20 minutes with Dr. Wallach about it. He was very informative, and he asked me a lot of questions, and he said, well, this is what you need to do. And I started doing that about 2 weeks ago, and I'm already dropping the weight again. I'm doing, everything is going smoothly now.
Good.
All of those, all of my systems are a go, you know. And if I could just get my cat to stop waking me up 3 times a night, I'd be happy. No. So I thought of something. You do hair analysis, right?
Yes, I do.
Now you do that for your clients who come in to see you. And, like, if I wanted to send you or a listener wanted to send you hair, you would be able to, and it was mine, you would be able to tell me what from that.
I don't do the hair analysis.
I'm getting at,
so
okay.
I don't do it. I send it to a lab in Texas, and they do a hair follicle analysis on it, and it comes back in a very extensive report. And I do that for people anywhere in the world. That's one of the services that your healing place has. It's called one of our virtual services. And what would happen is a person would go to yourhealingsite.com, go to the shopping tab, and click on hair tissue analysis bundle. And it would send them a kit with the instructions of how to cut their hair. They would send the hair sample to the lab, and the lab report would come back to me, and we would Skype the results since you're not in my state.
Right. Awesome. That's awesome. The technology for healing is getting so sweet. It's so good.
It's awesome.
Okay.
One of the reasons why hair is so important is because blood is very transient. A lot of people have thyroid problems, and if you take a blood test for thyroid function, it'll come back normal because the test is graded like on a bell curve, and everybody's body is different with different variables. So the test will show thyroid function, and it'll show adrenal function, but it'll also show the tendency of all the diseases that you have or your metabolic profile will lead to if you continue on that lifestyle that you have that's creating the current one. But it also gives you information on what minerals are causing those diseases. So, for instance, a low sodium potassium ratio will make you depressed. That it's a mental thing. It is, but it's a biochemical thing. And so when you have low sodium potassium ratios, you'll find that you will start feeling depressed. Isn't that interesting? But we know from the 90 for Life experience that minerals do have an effect on our mental capacity. And if we don't eat butter and eggs and all of the good fats in our diet, and we take a cholesterol-lowering drug, then our brains will short-circuit again for another reason. So minerals also have an impact on your emotional health, not just your physical health. And that's what the hair analysis tells me. It tells me the whole gamut. But it also gives me a diet for the client based on their biochemistry. And when I'm talking about diet, I'm not talking about calorie counting. When you eat, and I teach my clients that food is about your metabolic function. So when you eat a piece of broccoli, your body's not saying, wow, that broccoli was really fresh, it was really good. Your body is saying, once it gets into my system and I have enough gastrointestinal acid to break it down to its micronutrients, did it give me calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron, molybdenum, or whatever else is in broccoli? If your body is not getting that from the food source, or if you have a toxic level of it, and you shouldn't be eating it because it brings something to the metabolic table that you already have enough of, it'll say, don't eat broccoli, don't eat cabbage, don't eat kale. And people go, oh, my God, these are the things that I love. Broccoli, cabbage, and kale have a significant effect on the thyroid function because they have a lot of calcium. And if the body can't digest the food properly, calcium gets stored instead of being utilized, and now you have a calcium toxicity. Calcium toxicity can cause a lot of stuff, as we learned from Dr. Wallach. Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm personally combating right now is the thyroid thing. All my tests from my MD came back negative. A little elevated. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm almost 90 pounds overweight. You're telling me not to worry about it? And nothing I did. I tried Garcinia Cambogia. I tried detoxing my body. You know, I did all these things, and I was very concerned about the cost of it, for one. And two, it wasn't working. It would work for about 2 weeks, and it would stop, or maybe a month, and it would stop. And, then I gained more weight back, and I'm like, my body just was not getting what it needed out of the food, even the good food that I was eating. It just was very frustrating.
Oh.
But so Dr. Wall called it a absorption issue. It's an absorption problem.
Yeah.
It's like I could eat a steak. Like a couple of months ago, I could eat a steak on a Friday night and not feel it until Sunday. I let alone eliminate anything or anything like that. And I was like just scared. I knew something wasn't right. And sometimes, that keeps us in the panic mode when we don't truly comprehend what's happening. We just know something's happening, and, we freak out. So
yeah,
I was able to deduce what was happening myself, through the God Bless America, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and Hell's Kitchen books of Dr. Wallach, which I highly recommend. If you can't do anything, get the Dead Doctors Don't Lie. that will probably the best book I've ever read. And it's not all sciencey and medically and tech. There's even some humor in there. I found.
It is. I think in order to share new information, we have to have two premises. The premise number one is if we speak from an authentic place, then the person is actually going to kind of flow into their own intuition. Because don't we know this stuff anyway, but it just keeps getting negated, and then we second guess whether what we think we know is right? Dr. Wallach has a wonderful way of sharing information, and you go, you know what? I knew that was right. And so he validates what you already know that society keeps denying the reality of. And so we have to be very conscious of listening to ourselves and being okay with a knowingness,
Right. That's a huge step on the path to healing. I know a lot of people that they're in different businesses and this and that and the other thing, and they're sick all the time. They're recruiting people, they're providing products for people. I was one of them, and I thought to myself, I wonder how many other people feel like I do. And because I have good insight and a good connection with the angels and this and that, a lot of people turn to me for spiritual help, and they have for over 35 years, professionally anyway. And it's like, I want something more to offer to my clients, to my friends, to my family, to anybody, even a stranger that I meet, I want something that will help them with their current health, and in wellness situations that it will be there for them. We can't. What good is $1 million when you can't even get out of bed? What good is that? You know what I mean? What good is a great big old huge house when you live alone because your body and your mind are so suppressed from lack of nutrition?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how much of a role do you think nutrition plays in the big S word, sex?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's interesting that you said that because sex begins in the mind. And our thoughts about sex has everything to do with our conditioning from birth to 7, or whatever belief system that we have about sex. When you have a healthy sexual upbringing, then if you do have a libido problem, male or female, nutrition has played a huge part in that. But a lot of times, we are sexually dysfunctional because of the shame and the stigma associated with sexuality in our country. And even though you might say that you're liberal and you're kind of open with your sexuality and you don't have any hang-ups, subconsciously you do. And if you really believe that healing or the lack of health is a spirit, mind, body issue, then you have to also understand that it applies for every physical dysfunction. So your physical dysfunction, whether it's libido problems or erectile dysfunction or cancer or whatever the case may be, it's an emotional problem based on its feelings attached to an experience, and the experience is either negative or positive, feeding that emotion again, and it's kind of a nasty loop. And then the body breaks down because of that. So, yes, nutrition plays a huge part in healing, but you can only go so far when you only pay attention to the body. You must do the other components.
Yes. What would you say to people that might be listening and they hear a little information about a product, or say they say, well, speaking of sex, I guess we'll just say, oh, selenium's really good for that. You know, if you want to make a baby, just tons of it. You know, what we talked earlier about the ORAC scale, and, you know, selenium is definitely on there. Selenium is an excellent product. I take 12 tablets a day per Dr. Wallach. I sought an expert on that. And it's not to make any babies because cancer took all my chances of that away. And plus, I'm 60 years old. I don't need another baby. my baby's a Marine. One's a chef. One's a Marine. And the other one's a computer wizard. So,
wow.
So, what do you say to people? What would you say to people that are the type to rent out and I'm just going to buy, you know, $50 worth of amino acids and selenium? That's all I need. Do you know that mindset of person?
Absolutely. And I would say exactly what the expert has said. And the expert is Dr. Joel Wallach. And the expert has done research and histopathological slides and autopsies and raised farm animals and has so much rich knowledge and research about this subject. And I would say that Dr. Wallach says that every disease is a nutritional deficiency. If we need 90 essential nutrients, when you only give yourself 5, you're missing 85. If you give yourself 20, you're missing 70. So you can't cherry pick and choose, or else your body will systematically start breaking down. One of the things that I always ask people, and I say to them, why do you do the things you do? And they'll say, well, my cousin said, my doctor said, my girlfriend said, I read it. You're taking the only life you have, right? The only life that you will ever get on this plane, and you're giving it, you're taking action on the advice of people who don't know. Stop. You want to learn something, go directly to the source. And the source says 90 essential nutrients, period. Don't go against the source because you're not going to get the results.
All at once.
You're going to put yourself. Yeah.
All at once, daily.
Exactly. And it's a powder. I put it in a powder, I shake it up, and I drink it twice a day, and I add some other stuff to it, and I feel like $1 million. But I was the person who had the lupus and the mitral valve prolapse and all those other health problems, and now I don't have any. None. But I dealt with my spirit and my belief system so my body could relax enough to heal. So when I put stuff in, it could take it. Because here's the other dynamic. Fraught and you're mentally out of whack. Your body's in fight or flight mode. You can't expect to put anything in your system to be digested for nutrition. It won't happen. Your body can't walk and chew gum. It can't. When you're in a fight or flight mood, your gastrointestinal system will shut down. And your blood flow will go to your extremities to give you that fight or flight experience. Your gut will calm down eventually, but guess what? A person who's constantly in a stress loop day after day, month after month, these are the people that also have gastrointestinal problems, which will also have absorption problems, which will also have dysfunctions in their bodies leading to chronic diseases. And it all started from the inability to digest nutrients because the gut was all locked up because you were stressed out and you were frustrated or you were angry and you couldn't let go.
Exactly. That's exactly why I got the cancer. You know, I deal with a lot of people that some people call conspiracy theorists, but I have learned that our soil is not only depleted of minerals, our air is toxic, our water is toxic.
Yeah.
And, I have learned that the secret of the 90 for life, as we call it in longevity.
Mhm.
I have learned that, and I am preparing to do a webinar on this really soon to help people understand it. You can't just wash the skin off and hope to, make the MRSA go away with some clay. It'll get rid of the, I can't remember the name of the clay. I got a bag sitting right in front of me.
Bentonite clay? Bentonite clay?
Yeah, bentonite. They're using it to help detox veterans at the VA system now, especially those that were in Agent Orange and Agent White and Agent Blue. And I've lived on some of the military bases as a kid that had the Agent Blue and Agent Orange and blah, blah. We used to play around by the canisters. We were just little kids. We didn't know what it was.
Oh, wow.
Our nation, our nation was a much safer place than it is today.
Yeah.
It was a lot more patriotic. There was more community spirit. There was more unity. The churches and neighbors were able to help one another without fear of Big Brother stepping in and taking their children away, or kicking them out of their house, or they're losing their house because they're not working 3 jobs. And you got to have one job to pay for the daycare. You got to have another job to pay for the car, and then you got to have another job so you can go out to dinner on Friday night. It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right. It is ridiculous. Yeah.
It's just stressful. I personally made all the choices that I, years ago, like in 1984, I believe it was 1984, I turned off my TV, and I have not turned it back on, and I'm just fine. But dealing with the chemtrails and the bad water and this and that and the other thing, toxicity that comes from packaging and plastics, and sometimes now they're even finding things in clothing that's coming from other countries that's imported, that's causing skin rashes and hair loss and all kinds of crazy, especially the plastic, like little shoes and things like that. It's like I used to really freak out over stuff like that, and I don't worry about it anymore because I do get my 90 for life. I do take everything that I need to take, the bare minimum of what I need to take. At least I do that for myself. And I know as I grow and experience this that my intake will increase. So what would you say to someone who would like to get a hold of you to talk about their particular situation? Would it be better if they gave you a little synopsis first and emailed it to you through your panic2empowerment.com or your other sites?
Well, on Your Healing site at www.yourhealingsite.com, as soon as the website pops up, there's this beautiful lady, and she has a banner, and it says, book your free 15-minute consult. That way, when you click on it, you're going to book a time that you're going to be on my schedule. And that is a time set aside for you, for us to have a conversation about what your situation is and how I can best implement a plan to help you move from panic to empowerment in any aspect of your life. The reason why I can say that is because we use a result method. And a results method says, if we can reframe what's happening in your life and solve the hidden issues, then we can really get to the root cause of your problem to take you through a transformation and a healing experience. In order for us to even get started, you can book a free 15-minute consult on my website, yourhealingsite.com, and then we can go from there. The issue is, however, if you book the appointment, you must call during that time.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. And then they can request to participate in the hair tissue analysis program and things like that also.
Based on what their
Well,
goals
we got about
plan of action.
Mhm. We have about 14 minutes left.
Okay.
Are we having a delay on the? I think we're having a delay. Okay, so we have about. Okay, we have about. Let's see, what is the clock? Like 14 and a half minutes left, and we have a caller. Would you like to take the call?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. Hello, 919. You're on the air. Do you have a question? Hello?
Hi, Teresa. This is Evelyn Collins. How are you?
Oh, hi, Evelyn. Evelyn, meet Dr. Stephanie.
Hi, Dr. Stephanie.
Hi, Evelyn.
I believe I met you when were you in Salt Lake City?
I was.
At the convention. Okay, I believe I met you there. You've given us some wonderful information, and I've immensely enjoyed it. And one of the questions you told us about was if someone wanted to, and they're not in the Maryland area, could they facilitate your help? Or
yes.
Would they have to be face-to-face?
Nope. They can seek my help. They would do a 15-minute free consult, as I explained. Go to my website and book it. When you book that free consult, you're on my schedule. And so when you call in, you have my undivided attention. The session says 15 minutes, but to be honest with you, I do take about 30 minutes with you. So you can really start kind of the initial process of unraveling what your issues are. We set some goals, and then I determine a journey or a roadmap for you to follow. That road might begin with hair tissue analysis. It might begin with you. There's a lot of different places we can start, and that's why this is a custom experience, because you're not ears, nose, and throat. You're a unique creation from God, and I treat you that way. And so we have to listen to you first to determine how we get you where you want to go.
Okay, because you said something that was really interesting. You said we learn when we experience trauma or incidents when we're growing up, and you say something to someone and they say, oh, it's not that serious, or get over it. We learn not to trust ourselves. That was major for me. I mean, I really started to listen to you more intently at that point. So,
wow.
So I really have enjoyed this call. Another question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So we have a 30-minute free consult. What is the process going forward in terms of the cost per session and things like that?
It's an individual place. It's an individual experience. Now, there is a set cost for the different things that I do, but I don't know where we're going to begin, especially if you're not in my state.
Okay.
So if you were going to come to the office, there's a 2-hour initial consult with detox program, and on my website there's a tab that says what to expect. There's a video, and it tells you exactly what you can expect from that experience and that experience further out. But if you are what we call a remote client, then my plan of action is going to be different because you may not travel to me.
And you in what part of Maryland?
I'm in Baltimore.
You're in Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, that's about a 5-hour drive from me.
Yeah, and so there are ways that we can handle helping you get exactly what you need to heal. Because at the end of the day, the longevity plan is going to be your maintenance protocol. One of the things that I do start off with is to make sure that a client understands that this is a journey unlike anything they've ever experienced before. And in order to maximize the benefit of what they could receive, they must engage in the From Panic to Empowerment concept. And I give them the opportunity to read the book, definitely to take the course, get the audio book. I mean, whatever you have to do to submerge yourself into this idea that you're a spirit, mind, and then a body. Because if you don't, natural medicine is going to be short-lived for you, just like you taking a drug, because we never got to the root cause of the problem. We did physically, but we're not driven by our physical. We're driven by the spirit and the mind, and the body's only expressing that. So if you only take care of the body, you're going to fall short. And the other reason why I even did this is because my ego was at stake. I have to be completely honest with you. I give so much to my clients, and I could not figure out why they would get well and then they would relapse. Get well, relapse. And as clear as day, the Holy Spirit says, well, ask them what they feel about it. What's in their spirit about it? And I was like, oh. So we talk about the spirit, mind, body thing, but we have to actually do it. And so I've created a system where it's no longer just a conversation cliche. You actually have a system to access that deeper part of yourself so you can really thrive. So definitely I recommend wholeheartedly to take the course.
Oh, okay. So the course is online. Is that Panic to Empowerment?
Yep, from panictoempowerment.com. From panictoempowerment.com. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. To empowerment.com. And you're so right about that. I keep hearing the term, because for years they only talked about the body and they didn't deal with the other two factors of the whole piece. And so then when mind, body, and spirit came along, okay, all right, I trust and believe, but how do I get the mind and the body and the spirit to work together synergistically so that I can be the highest that God has called me to be?
Yep.
So that is excellent. That is excellent. And you also mentioned broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower.
Broccoli, cabbage, and kale.
Kale, yeah.
Cabbage and kale. Okay, I've never heard the kale one. Okay.
Well, you ever notice that those are very deep green?
Mm-hmm.
Those vegetables are high in calcium. And if you eat carbohydrates, it slows down your thyroid gland about 78% while it's trying to metabolize the carbohydrates. Each time that happens, calcium deposits in the system. And Dr. Wallach will talk about a calcium deficiency. But what he's really talking about is the inability of calcium to be absorbed. Because it's not absorbed, it's not existent. It's just at a toxic level, and so you have toxic levels of calcium. That is what slows the thyroid gland down and makes you cold, makes you have dry skin and dry brittle hair. If you're still cycling, your cycles would be very heavy. Those are the experiences of adding too much calcium-rich foods in a diet that can't absorb the nutrition because maybe your doctor told you not to put salt in your food and you can't absorb anything. So when you eat those foods, you're compounding the problem. But you don't know. You just think that they're green leafies and I should be good with it.
Oh, well, this is true. This is very true. It's a vegetable. I must eat my vegetables.
Exactly. Belief system from birth to 7. That is that belief system.
I love your analysis of the food label also because I also am a longevity distributor. And it is amazing what we don't know. And as Dr. Wallach said, we just don't know what we don't know. And so when we look at a label, we know that it has it there, but we don't know that it's missing. And it wasn't until coming to longevity that I understood that there's so many things that we are missing. So thank you so much for sharing. I look forward to the book. I look forward to the website. And I look forward to also a consult with you.
Absolutely.
My name is Evelyn Collins, and I'm from Wendell, North Carolina.
Well, Miss Evelyn, my full name is Stephanie Evelyn Reid.
Oh, how cool!
I remember that from Salt Lake City. Yeah, so we do have a lot of things in common. And I lived in Maryland. I lived in Baltimore, Pikesville, Maryland, for about 17 years.
Wow. Okay.
Awesome. So thank you so very much. And this was an awesome show. Thank you so very much. And I pray your many successes. And thank you for Teresa for allowing me to come on and ask several questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
I'm excited about
Evelyn.
the possibilities.
Great show. Thank you, ladies. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, she's such a sweetheart.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. So, okay, so I think we're like down to 5 minutes. So let's do our to our info. If you would like more information about Breath Terror Radio or this particular episode, you can call 1-855-505-0509 to get a hold of me. If you want to get a hold of Dr. Stephanie, you can go to her website, Your Healing Place or House? Your Healing
Site.com.
SITE.com, healingsite.com. And get a hold of it there. And I hope that we have put some good energy out there for the listeners tonight. I hope that you have learned something. I hope that you understand the importance of 90 for life. I hope that you understand maybe you need to learn something. Feel free to contact both of us or either one of us. The links are on the show marquee, and they will stay there indefinitely. You can download this podcast for free, and I look forward to you coming back, Dr. Stephanie, and we'll definitely have a little more to we've got the groundwork broke out here, and so another show, maybe we can just take callers the entire show and see how that goes.
Oh, awesome.
Maybe 30 minutes for that or something.
Yeah. This
thank you so much. And
thank you.
Thank you for helping me get a good first show of 2016 off like a rocket. And I even learned some stuff like I'm going to have to listen to the replay about how the absorption problem manifests in the body. So, yeah. So. All right, sweetie. I love you. I love the light in you, and I will talk to you again real soon. And everybody, heads up, you only have you. So take care of you. We'll see you guys again next time on Breath of Terra. So thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Giving you love right back. All righty. Bye-bye.
Okay, honey. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Subway restaurants invite you to make every day different with the sub of the day. Every day it's a different 6-inch sub for just $3.50. Try the sweet onion chicken teriyaki on Monday, the oven roasted chicken on Tuesday, and many more prepared on your choice of freshly baked bread with any toppings you want. It's the sub of the day, only at Subway restaurants. Prices and participation may vary. Additional charge for extras and deluxe plus tax where applicable. Subway restaurants invite you to make every day different with the sub of the day. Every day it's a different 6-inch sub for just $3.50. Try the sweet onion chicken teriyaki on Monday, the oven roasted chicken on Tuesday, and many more prepared on your choice of freshly baked bread with any toppings you want. It's the sub of the day, only at Subway restaurants. Prices and participation may vary. Additional charge for extras and deluxe plus tax where applicable.